asked himself the question, we're going to be in power. And it looks like I'm going to be president. What is a budget? Who's going to tell me what's a budget? What is its significance in the running of a country?
Never, never, and never again shall it be that this beautiful land will again experience the oppression of one by another.
His presidency had to hold everything together, to bring some stability, to anchor things. And I think he did it.
When he becomes president, among the first things he does is he invites the widows and wives of former ministers, prime ministers, and presidents. Here's a man who stretches out his hand of friendship to his enemies without bitterness, without hatred, without feelings of revenge or anger.
So he does things, a number of us feel, hey, what's this old man up to? But if you sit back and say, wait a minute, does it make sense in terms of nation building? Then you realize that, yes, it makes sense. He understands how symbols and symbolic action can make a greater impact.
People calmed down. Those who'd been from the black community opposed to the ANC for one reason or another didn't feel completely marginalized and excluded, and whites who'd been terrified at the day when the black masses took over discovered life is not really so bad under Mandela.
5 years he gave us that and then told us that he's retiring. Obviously, he retired from South Africa and went to the world because people needed a Nelson Mandela.
Madiba has made himself one of the greatest living human beings in all of human history by virtue of his capacity not only to lead along the easy paths, but his capacity and his strength of character to lead in the different directions that are extremely painful.
Madiba is an amazing person. Very warm.
Can I hug you?
When this phrase Batupili came, for me, it sounded like the type of thing that Madiba would think about. Batupili, people first.
How are you? Very nice. Can I hug you?
On the 18th of July 1998, Nelson Mandela married Graça Machel.
Thank you. Now please the guys.
I haven't done it before. I'll do it for the very first time. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. When I told one of my advisors a few months ago that I wanted to retire, he growled at me, "Coat, you are retired." If that is really the case, then I should say, I now announce that I'm retiring from retirement. The appeal, therefore, is, don't call me. I'll call you. Death is something inevitable. When a man has done what he considers to be his duty to his people and his country, he can rest in peace. I believe I've made that effort. And that is therefore why I will sleep for the eternity.
Kuyalawa kutalipunga Usotono no jonkum jonono Ujejana njeja Upopo injepo Yikote ya miti minyaka ya mibininga salwa Yese ya salwa salna masinyo Bakala banju basemta busangene Nesiti maseneto le khomsasa
Now, this man that we're talking about, this icon of South Africa, was born, as we all know, in Mvezo, but grew up in Kunu. And Kunu is the place where, in his book, The Long Walk to Freedom, Nelson Mandela described that he spent some of the happiest times of his life. This is also where he retired. This was his retirement home in Kunu in May 2012. And this, of course, is also the area that is going to be where the funeral will be held. This is going to be the final resting place for Madiba. And Yuri Blichnoot is there this morning. And one can only imagine what it feels like being in Kunu at this time. Yuri, what does it feel like being in that particular area? I mean, the spirit of Nelson Mandela must be roaming those valleys around you, no doubt.
Hi, good morning, Leanne, and good morning, South Africa. Yes, here in Kunu this morning, daybreak revealed a overcast and cool day, but it's almost as if Mother Nature is busy preparing the soil and the land to receive the most favourite sun from this area. The rolling hills around here, which Mr. Mandela loved so much, will be a sea of green by the time he comes down here from Johannesburg to have his eternal rest. What we have seen here this morning, it's very quiet, but because of the cloud cover, it's also very serene, and it does give it almost a surreal environment. But life here moves a bit slower. Things are quiet. The road, as we drove into Kunu, was very quiet this morning. From the hill on the top here at the Youth and Heritage Centre, looking down onto the former president's house, things are very quiet. Things are not moving. But around here, people are quietly preparing, and as the next week progress, there'll be a lot more movement here, and there'll be a lot more public outpouring of grief. I think now it's still quiet and private, and people are contemplating what the future holds for them and how they will go on with life, remembering their favourite president.
Very much, Yuri. But what are plans like in place? Because, I mean, without a shadow of a doubt, there are going to be thousands of people that are going to be going to Kunu for the funeral. Have you noticed that there's a lot of activity around the area?
Strange enough, here in Kunu, not a lot of activity. What we have heard, the King Sabata Dalinyebu municipality, which includes Mthatha, which is the home municipality of the former president, they have started preparations quietly because they know a whole lot of people will come down here. A while back, infrastructure programs have been going on here to prepare the city for the influx of people. So they say they'll be ready for the people that will be coming down here on the Kunu side. Not so much. We did hear yesterday from the Abatembu clan. They had a meeting in the house of former President Nelson Mandela, and it was decided there that the King Buyelekaya Dalinyebu, he will over the weekend travel up to Johannesburg to meet with the family there. He will then return, and on Monday a prayer meeting with the elders and the Abatembu clan is planned to be held in the house of former President Nelson Mandela.
Yuri Blichnoot, thank you very much. We'll get an update from you again through the morning. Now, Nelson Mandela will be remembered as a man who recognized the significance of sport in the culture of South Africa and used it to unite the country. For many years before Mandela's release from prison in 1990, South Africa's apartheid policy meant that the country was outlawed from many international sports.
In a fast-changing political climate which followed steps by Pretoria to end apartheid and racial segregation in sport, South Africa was readmitted to the Olympic movement in 1991. Other sporting bodies were quick to follow the IOC's lead.
Although they could use a number of strategies against the political movement itself, against sports, you see, they were really paralyzed. There was nothing that they could do. And for them, to be regarded as the polecat of the world and to be isolated from sports completely was one of the biggest blows against South Africa.
When it came to sports, Mandela had the ability to inspire inspirational figures and leave global stars starstruck.
I formed a bit of a relationship with him. He even phoned me on my wedding day. So, yeah, it was a special bond that we had, and he was a special man. He did wonderful things for our country, and understand that we're a very passionate sporting nation, and that he could use that as a tool to unite the country and bring it together. So, very astute in his thinking, and very involved, and just it showed the true nature of a wonderful human being.
Mandela was elected president of South Africa in 1994. He famously used the 1995 Rugby World Cup, a year after democracy, to completely knock down the last barriers of apartheid. He quickly saw the value of using sport to unite the country by encouraging the whole population to support the previously despised Springboks.
David, we didn't have 60,000 South Africans. We had 43 million South Africans.
Mandela continued to use his charisma to influence the power brokers and stars of international sport. Towards the end of his life, Mandela was still instrumental in helping South Africa win its bid to host the 2010 FIFA World Cup after an initial failure to trying to land the 2006 tournament. It was fitting then that his last public appearance came at the day of sporting celebration when he greeted the crowd at the 2010 FIFA World Cup final.
Continuing to see the messages of condolences coming in for the late President Nelson Mandela, who went to his final resting place. Many people just describing him as an angel at this point in time. At 10 to 9 on Thursday night, that was the time that President Jacob Zuma said in his announcement that Nelson Mandela went to his final resting place. Many people writing in and saying, this one coming in from Candace Shoes, saying it's certainly not getting any easier to deal with. My tears just flow for the loss of this true father, this true leader, this true man. Masichaba Mabelane writing, my 6-year-old daughter last night, she broke into tears. I asked her what was wrong and she said, Mommy, I'm crying for Tata Mandela. It absolutely touched me. You can be amazing. Here's some other tweets that have been sent in that you can see on the screen as well. I'm just having a look at my Twitter account at the amount of people that are writing in and just sending their condolences. Jananda writing in and saying there are just not enough that can be shown of all of the people sending in the messages from all over the world. Lee's Lounge writing in and saying, a blanket of sadness indeed, but also gratification and pride for being able to share this magnificent country with him. That's Madiba. Smunger Reuters saying, we came to celebrate the life of a person who taught us peace, unity and reconciliation. Another one, Namanje, writing in saying South Africa has lost one of the greatest leaders, the father of a nation. He will be sorely missed. Rest in peace. Let's have a look here. Mokabi Mohlako, the father of the nation, has left us. He will forever be in our lives as his spirit lives on. Madiba. Rebecca Gerber saying, a thick blanket of sadness as the reality sets in. Grief is the price that we pay for such love. Take care. Rebecca, thank you very much for writing into us. Well, there you have it. So many people writing in. There's a picture, a most beautiful picture of two lost souls to this planet. Earlier, Whitney Houston also passing away, and there, of course, Nelson Mandela when she visited us here in South Africa. Now, what we would love is also another fallen soul, Princess Diana, another one of the many people that came here to South Africa and met Nelson Mandela, and another picture of him. Now, it's not only people that were of prominence that Nelson Mandela met. We would love to see your photographs. If you could send us your photographs of an opportunity that you have or may have had to have met President Nelson Mandela, please do send them in to us. We'll put them on air. We'll celebrate that moment with you as a nation, because I think that has to be one of the most prized possessions that you own. Send them to us. There's how you have to send them to us. Tweet us at Morning Live SABC, and also send them to www.sabc.co.za/Mandela. Upload them onto the website. We'll put them on screen for South Africa to see. We can see that beautiful moment of yours when you met that incredible man. I have those photos too, which are cherished and hanging up in my home, and I absolutely love them. We've got a very special guest in studio with us now this morning that we're going to talk to him about his experiences with Nelson Mandela as we continue to pay tribute to this great man. We also continue to speak to fellow comrades who were imprisoned with him on Robben Island. One of them is psychologist and anti-apartheid activist Saths Cooper, who actually shared a cell block with Nelson Mandela. As a political prisoner for 9 years, Cooper realized that psychology could be a powerful force for liberation as well as oppression. Cooper joins us in studio to reminisce with us and to talk about Nelson Mandela. Good to have you. Welcome to Morning Live.
My pleasure to be here.
Now, did you know Mandela while you were on Robben Island?
Yes, in those 5 years that I spent in the same cell block, intimately cheek by jowl, it was impossible not to smell each other's smells, not to interact with each other on a daily basis and know thoughts that you were sharing with each other, sporting other triumphs, tribulations. Those were not the best of times, but they were singular moments in our own histories because we engaged with Mandela and others, and we now in our 20th year of democracy.
Yeah. What was he like? What is it that stands out for you as this great man?
He was an imposing figure, somebody who had a regal demeanor. He had a certain magneticism that even if you were not in tune with what he was saying and objected to certain positions he held, you weren't really angry at what he said. So he had that ability to diffuse any rancor and was able to attract people to him. So he just had that natural, native attractiveness, if you like.
Yeah. You know, a lot of people talk about the Mandela when he was released from prison and, you know, the type of man that he was then. But you had the opportunity to meet the Mandela in prison and the type of character and fighting spirit that he had then. And it would be interesting to hear from your perspective. I mean, while you were there, while you shared your time with Mandela in prison, what was it like being with him? Was he always fighting for the rights of the prisoners? I mean, was he always trying to fight for something?
Well, he didn't have to do that because he shared a certain leadership stature, so that he was given a different treatment, if you like, by the apartheid authorities because they gave all the life prisoners a different dispensation. But Mandela was one who shared what he had. So if he had bread at lunchtime when others did. The Mandela homes, whether it's in Soweto or in Houghton, you'll see the crowds there who have come in awe, come to pay their respects silently, as well as in a seriously joyful